Hey, what's up, side hustlers? How you doing today? Coming to you today to talk about a secret way to get more orders for DoorDash, Waitr, Grubhub, whatever gig service you might be working for. One secret way to get additional orders is to check out new restaurants in your area. If your town's like mine, anytime there's a new restaurant, everybody in the city floods to that spot. And that's true of ordering out too. One of the ways that you can find new restaurants in your area, of course, is to follow a Chamber of Commerce Facebook page in your local area, and they will frequently announce when new restaurants and new businesses are opening ahead of the opening to kind of give you a heads up. But you have to do your homework too. One of the things that you need to do is go to the restaurant's website, see if they have a local site, try to find a phone number to call them and ask them which delivery services that they are planning to subscribe to. So a couple weeks before a restaurant opened in our area called Baja Fresh, I called the store and asked them if they were planning to use a delivery service, and they said yes, we're actually going to use DoorDash, and then we're considering potentially adding other services. So the restaurant was going to be in a popular location where I'm already seeing a lot of orders. It's close to a hotspot as designated by DoorDash in the app. So what I started doing was, after the restaurant opened, I started camping out, kind of posting up near the restaurant. And I'm actually in the parking lot now, waiting for my next order. So what I do is I hang out here and I pick up a lot of orders because I'm the closest driver in proximity to the restaurant. And orders are flying into this place because it's new. So it's sort of a good combination. Another way to look for restaurants that are new to your area is to think like the customer and actually download the customer-facing applications like Waitr, DoorDash, Grubhub, Postmates, Uber Eats. Download those different apps. Use your address as if you're a customer, or put in your zip code or whatever the app requires. Look at the restaurants that are in your area, particularly the ones that are listed as popular. And several of these sites have a filter that you can set for new restaurants, popular restaurants, restaurants near you. And it's a good way to figure out, what might be new in your area and which restaurants are popular in your area. And I would definitely recommend setting up next to those. Another way to get more orders in your area is to drive in peak times. Now that seems pretty commonsensical, right? So think about the, American diet. We typically eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner around, 8 a.m., noon, and 5, 6 p.m., right? It's probably not going to be a good idea to sign on and drive at 10 in the morning. So what happens if you contact the restaurant and they say, no, we're not using any delivery services? What should your response be? Just thanks and hang up, no big deal? You could do that. But there's another option, and I'm not suggesting that you necessarily do full-on business development for Waitr or Grubhub or DoorDash or any of these other services, but you could tell the restaurant that you're a delivery driver for insert X company and that they might want to look into it, because the more restaurants that you have sign up in your market, the more orders that you're going to get, the more potential for drivers. So there's plenty of orders to go around typically, and a lot of these services have gotten good about regulating the number of drivers in a particular area so that it's not saturated, and that, so that the drivers that are accepting orders are getting a fair amount, to continue the service. Because what I've seen happen in the past is there's a rash of new drivers who sign up for a service and there's not enough orders or restaurants to support them. And a lot of drivers are just sitting around twiddling their thumbs. And of course, that's not going to last long because people are out here trying to hustle, right? We're trying to make some money. So we got to have enough restaurants signed on. We got to be getting enough orders. Maybe you can do your part. And, hey, Waitr, DoorDash, Uber Eats, if you're out here listening, maybe that's a different referral program for drivers. Maybe drivers could refer restaurants who are currently not one of your customers to sign up for the service under a referral code provided by a driver. That's an idea. I mean, I'd be willing to do that, right? So not only as a driver could I sign up new drivers, but I could sign up restaurants. Think of the potential there. And to these application services, you've got a built-in army of business developers going out here helping restaurants get signed up. Something to think about, right? Something else not a lot of drivers think about is the ability to earn higher tips by taking higher dollar value orders. So what I mean by that is maybe consider, posting up outside of restaurants that have or typically have a higher total order amount, either by volume or by individual price of menu items. What I mean is there's a locally owned steak restaurant, it's actually a steak and sushi restaurant in our town. They're very good and they're very expensive, but they are a Waitr customer. So I have learned that when I'm in that area and it's around dinner time, particularly Friday and Saturday nights, I tend to post up around that restaurant. And if I get an order, I know it's going to be a fairly good size ticket, and the tip's going to be pretty good too. Because think about it, most people are going to base their tip amount on the total amount of their order. In fact, most apps even suggest to the customer, would you like to leave 15, 20, 25 other percent of the total order? And people are just accustomed to that. And we typically do that when we go out to eat in a restaurant. Most people are going to leave 20% or so. So would you rather get 20% of a $20 order or 20% of a $70 order? 70, 80, sometimes even up to $100. I've actually received a $25 tip from that restaurant one time. That was by far my best tip from that particular location. But I came out with 2 or 3 bagfuls of ribeyes, sushi rolls, grilled chicken breasts. Number one, it smelled excellent. And number two, I knew that was a high ticket item that had to have been a lot of money, and it was reflected in the tip. Like I said, I earned, $24.50 or $24 and some change. That was a great night. That was like my first order that Friday night, and I was off and running. So, not only consider new restaurants, consider popular restaurants, and then sort of as a second tier filtering, look for restaurants that have a higher ticket item, or maybe they offer family meals, which was particularly important when we were all under a shutdown. The family meal offerings were fantastic, and a lot of restaurants that didn't typically do that serve like a couple sides and a main entree or two and a gallon of sweet tea and a dessert. But those family packs, if you will, that were offered by a lot of restaurants became big ticket items. Those types of restaurants where we may not have typically thought of hanging out at became more and more popular for drivers. I hope everybody's doing well out there, hustling, making that money. It's the first of the month. It's usually good for us drivers. We're going to be headed into football season here soon, Lord willing, and that's going to mean a lot of pizza orders and wings and kind of party food favors. So be looking forward to that. It may also mean if we have some Monday night football, that Mondays are better nights than they have been typically when there's just nothing on, So I'm hoping as we move into the fall and the cooler weather and the sports seasons that we're going to see an uptick in our business, and that's going to be great for all of us who are out here hustling. And eventually I'd like to see things like Uber and the ride sharing services come back and be more popular. And I think they will when it's safer to do so. So I'm also looking forward to that. Hope everybody has a great weekend. By the time this is published, the weekend should be coming up. Everybody stay safe out there, take care of each other, and take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time.